Hi everyone, this is Chitra from KS Rangasamy College of Technology going to give certain insights about parallel processing. So parallel processing is nothing but if you are going to execute a program in a parallel manner, this is called as a parallel processing. So the speed of execution of program is being influenced by various factors. So one way of imparting this importance is to use a faster circuitry and a technology so that the processor and the main memory will be capable of accessing that data in an effective manner. Another possibility is to interchange the hardware so that more than one operations can be performed at the same time. So pipelining is a particularly effective way so that concurrent processing of instructions in a computer can be carried out. So pipelining as a mean for improving the performance by overlapping the execution of machine instructions. The five stages of executions are fetch, decode, compute, memory and then write. So instruction is fetched in the first cycle and moves through the remaining cycles in the following phases. So in the second cycle, the instruction j plus 1 is fetched and the instruction I of j is in the decode stage where its operands are also read from the register files. And hence the pipelining will be going to a support for the improving the performance of a system, particularly in improving the execution of instructions. In this third cycle, the instruction I plus 2 is fetched while the instruction ij plus 1 in the decode stage and the instruction ij is in the compressed stage where an arithmetic or logical operations are being involved. So ideally, this overlapping pattern of execution would be possible for any sort of instructions. Although one instruction takes 5 cycles to complete its executions, instructions are completed at a rate of 1 instructions per cycle. So if you look into this execution of pipelining, you will get an insights like you have a different phases of executions like 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So here in the instruction ij is fetched in the first cycle, whereas the instruction ij plus 1 is executed in the second cycle, fetched in the second cycle, and the next instruction is being fetched in the third cycle. If you look into the overall execution of this instruction, so all these instructions are being executed irrespective of n number of cycles. So per clock cycle one particular instruction is being executed. So by this way the pipelining supports for improving the throughput of any system. So that is here you have that is the fourth instructions will be fetched in the fourth cycle. So the remaining instructions like instruction I1 is in the execute phase, and the next cycle is in the, that is the next instructions will be in the computation stage, and the third instructions might be in the fetch stage. So whatever the instruction it may be, so each and every instructions will be operated at different stages. At each stage of the pipelining, processing a different sort of instructions. Information such as the register address, immediate data, and operands are being performed must be carried out through pipelining as each instruction proceeds from one step to the next. So, in this information is held in an interstage buffer. These registers are named as RA, RB, RM, RY, and RZ. Hence, the pipelining is supporting for the execution of instructions of different operands. So, interstage buffers are being used in this pipelining, which feeds the intermediate data to the successive stages of pipelining. For example, here the interstage buffer B1 feeds the decode stage with a newly fetched instruction. The interstage buffer B2 fetches the compute stage with the two operands from the register file and the source destination register identifiers. So interstage buffers holds the results of the ALU operations and it is being forwarded to the next cycles. So in a case of a write access to memory buffer B3 holds the data to be written. So this data were read from the register file in the decode stage. The intermediate buffer is responsible for passing the data from the previous stage to the current stage of execution of instructions. So buffer B4 feeds the new write stage with a value to be returned to the register. So this value may be the ALU result from the computation of the results of the memory access. So hence the intermediate buffers in a pipelining supports for fetching the data from the previous stages, and it is responsible for saving that data over to a memory. So if you look into this pipeline, five stages of pipelining. So first the data is read from the memory, and next it is being fed to the ALU, and whatever and after that it is being executed, and the result is being saved into the memory. So whatever the stages of execution it may be, so the pipeline architecture supported with the intermediate buffer enables to hold the data from the previous stages, and it is being bypassed to the next stages. So but there are times when it is not possible to have a new instructions enter the pipelining in every cycle. Consider the case of instructions ij plus 1, where the destinations are the instructions ij is a source of the instruction ij plus 1. The results of the instructions are not written into the register file until the cycle 5, because it is needed at the earlier cycle, that is cycle 3, when the source operand is ready for the instruction ij plus 1. Hence you have an issue. So intermediately in whatever the data that is being computed, so that need to be saved over to the memory at the intermediate stages, so that whatever the data that might be available, you'll be able to save it to the memory. So and then it can be used for execution. If the execution proceeds as such, the results of the instruction ij plus 1 would be incorrect, because the arithmetic operation would be performed using the old value of the register's value. So to obtain the correct result, it is necessary to wait until the new value is written into the register by the instruction ij. Hence the instruction ij plus 1 cannot read its operands at the cycle 6, which means it must be stalled in the stage for 3 cycles. So which the instructions ij plus 1 is stalled instructions, and ij plus 2 and all subsequent instructions are similarly delayed. So new instructions enter the pipeline and the total execution of the instructions being passed. So any condition that causes the pipelining to stall is called as a hazard, and we have described. So data dependency. Consider the two instructions add R3, R2 and R with a value of 100. Subtract R0, R2. So the destination of these instructions add instruction is the source for the subtract instructions. So there is a data dependency between these two instructions, because the register R2 carries the data the first instructions to the second instructions. So since the dependency of data from the first instruction to the second instruction, which you will be calling it as a data dependency. So hence the first instruction is going to be fetched in the cycle 1 and decoded, computed and executed, and the result will be saved. Until the after that only the data might be available to the memory. The second instruction subtract will be requesting the data from the first instruction. So at the cycle 6, so it will be waiting, and then after that whatever the data it is able to get back it, so that data might be saved over to the memory. So that data is being used for the successive instructions. So unnecessarily the second instruction is going to be waiting for the first instruction's execution completion. So this problem you will be calling it as a data dependency. So this can be overcome if whenever you have a data that can be forwarded to the successive stages. So this can be supported with the use of an concept called operand forwarding technique. So pipeline stalls due to the data dependencies can be alleviated using the use of operand forwarding. So you have two instructions which is being supported with I1, I2, I3 and I4, and another instructions. So these instructions are being whenever you have an intermediate data, so that data can be forwarded to the successive instructions. so that whenever the data is available, so that can be forwarded to the next instructions, so that you'll be able to access that instructions data, and the result of the intermediate result can be forwarded to the subsequent instructions. So this concept will be calling it as an operand forwarding technique. So if you look into this diagram, so if at this third stage, whatever the intermediate data which is available after the computation, that is being forwarded. So this diagram represents the overall structure of execution of any instructions. So you have a register file which is having a two outputs that might be followed through two multiplexers, and where the data from this multiplexers are being fed to the arithmetic logical unit. So whenever the arithmetic logical unit is going to provide some intermediate data, so that data might be forwarded um, to the intermediate file, so that whatever the registers it may be, so it can make use of that existing data. So by this, whatever the data which is available, you are going to intermediately at the intermediate stages of pipelining itself, you will be able to forward the data to the successive stages. So this you will be calling it as an operand forwarding technique. Memory delay. Delay arising from memory access are another cause of pipeline stalls. For a complete instructions to be executed, so it requires the operands from the memory whenever it is needed. So this may require some problem because the requested instructions or the data are not found in the cache. So as a result, the data from the main memory has to be brought into the cache memory, and from there it has to be used for execution. Hence, this delay in accessing of data from the memory will be calling it as a memory delay. So, as a result of this, if we consider the instructions like I1, I2, and then ij plus 1, here these instructions and during this memory operations that is being available at the fourth stage of the pipelining, first instruction ij is being available at the after the first at the end of that memory phase. So till the data whatever the if the second instruction is being requiring for the execution of the same data, then if the data is not available in the cache, then it has to wait. So until that data is being available in the main memory, it should be brought to the main cache, and then can be used for execution. So this problem, and similarly the another instruction I3 will be waiting and the second stage itself, since it needs the second instructions from the previous instructions ij and ij plus 1, so that it can able to calculate the data, manipulate the data and the data and return the data to the memory. So this is, you will be calling it as a memory delay. So this can be alleviated by using the memory, particularly the memory delay can be alleviated by making use of a concept called whenever a data is being available and after that computation, so it will be placed in the cache. If it is not being used, then whatever the data it is requiring, so then that data is being placed in the cache. And if it is not being needed for a longer period of time, so that data can be placed over to the return back to the main memory. So this is how we are going to avoid that delay that might be caused during this memory access. Next, this concept can be overcome by using a technique called memory computation, and this memory computation can be overcome by using a concept called as a that is intermediate value computations. And this intermediate delay, apart from this, you have a branch delay. So this branch delay the execution of a sequence of instructions being beginning with unconditional branch. So the next two instructions are stored in the successive memory address following this ij. So the target of the branch in the execution is ik. So this unconditional branches can be determined at the previous stages and supported for execution. So the instruction fetched in the cycle 1 and cycle 2